excited about this session, considering influencer marketing. We'll just start with quick introductions, like a 1 minute, 30-second introduction on what each one of you do, and then we'll quickly dive into the topic.
No, I'm Dhruv Agarwal. Pleasure to meet all of you. I run a brand called Stahl Cookware, Stahl Kitchens. We're a 100 crore plus company based out of Pune that manufactures some of the most premium cookware and pressure cookers in the country. We believe in making tools that work well, last long, and feel good. We focus on a very, very high level of aesthetic, merging form and function to be able to create some of the best cooking experiences in the country. We're primarily general trade, so we have presence in more than 3,500 retail outlets, present on most e-commerce channels, do a lot of influencer marketing, among other forms, and yeah, we're growing very, very aggressively.
So I'll just give a quick intro. So I'm Prateek, Ruhail, the founder of Vanity, Wagon. Me and Naina, my better half, we founded the company in 2018. And this is a clean beauty aggregator. We started off, of course, with aggregating clean beauty brands on our own platform, eventually migrated into retail as well about 2 years back, which is physical retail. So doing that plus digital retail, of course, dealing with almost 10,000 beauty products every day. So a lot of influencer marketing is a part of our journey, more so because beauty overall, it works really well when you've seen it give results on somebody else, when you've seen the products being used. So I think overall it's been an incredible journey for us, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for inviting us here. I am Pavneet and I'm the founder of Athena Lifestyle. Me and my wife, we founded the company way back in 2010, and we've been retailing online mostly since then, and we've been catering to Gen Zs, millennials, plus sizes. You can say that we have something to offer every woman of the country. So, and since then we are doing quite good, and we've been even the #1 sellers on different online portals as well in the last few years. And the journey has been really great so far, and we have done a lot of work with the influencers, digital marketing and all. And that is why I guess that you guys have invited me here. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, good morning. And I think I would like to tell BW a thank you for inviting all us. So myself, Siddharth Shah, I am the founder for SS Mobile. So SS Mobile is a multi-brand mobile retail store, and we run close to around 320 odd stores across around 4 to 5 states of the country and around 160 odd cities. So the beauty about our business is we are also into tier 1, so 30% of our business is coming from tier 1, maybe 30-35% through tier 2, and balance 40% through the tier 3 cities. And I think we are the country's 5th largest retail chain currently. Our team size is almost more than 2,000 people, and I think again a very, very fast growing company. So I think in last 8 odd years we have grown by roughly 22x, and this year we are expecting to exit at a revenue of roughly around 2,000 crores.
A bad throw. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Manasa Garemella. I'm the co-founder of kindlife. We're India's fastest growing beauty health and wellness platform. And our aim at kindlife is to bring the best of global brands to India, and particularly to Gen Z. There are 700 million Gen Z, millennials, late millennials, early Gen Z in India, and we're curating, just the best of trending, homegrown, as well as Korean, Japanese beauty brands for them. We work very closely with influencers, and lots of notes to be exchanged here. Thank you for having me.
So good morning, everybody, and thanks a lot, BW, for inviting me here. My name is Priyanka, Sachdeva, and I run a brand called Core and Pure. We are into essential oils and base product. And essential oil is something which helps in balancing your hormone. And 95% of the problem what we have is because of the hormonal imbalance. So we manufacture products for concern specific, like for sleep disorder, anxiety, depression, arthritic pain, and many more. You can watch us out downstairs also. We have a store right here as well. Thank you.
It was absolutely lovely. I'll take you up on the sleep anxiety disorders. Anyways, the point is, it's a great set of panelists, and I'm going to go little behind before influencer marketing started, and how we evolved to the process of influencer marketing, and where do you think it's headed towards, right? You all are seasoned entrepreneurs and have been using marketing in your various aspects of it. So would love to hear your thoughts, starting with Sir, Siddharth Sir, that where did you start your marketing from, how has it grown, and what are the channels that you're using currently? I'm just going to go random.
So I think we are basically into business since almost now more than 2 decades.
Sure.
So earlier, maybe last first 10, 15 years, marketing was only go to a print ad and make a print ad. I think highest above that was handbill distributions. But I think in last 5 years, the marketing has absolutely changed from starting from Facebook, Insta ads, and now in upcoming 2 years, it's absolutely towards influencers, how influencers are able to attract the customer, how they are able to connect people in their local language, how community marketing, influencer marketing. So I think a 360-degree change in last 2 years, and even changes city to city. Maybe the behavior is changing,
Fair enough.
and yeah.
But my question here is how much spend? So if out of 100% you were spending 90% on digital and 10% on, what is the budget split that has changed?
So I think
in that
earlier it was 90-10, currently it is 60-40. 60% has come down to social media now.
All right, fair enough. And I would really like to ask both of you also the same question, considering you guys rely heavily on influencers now, and how has the story evolved from there?
So we're built completely for a younger audience, and digital is in my core. We work with influencers very differently. We have a very strong creator program called Kind Champions, where we work with over 5,000 creators. These are nano and micro creators who then have their stores on Kind Life, and then their recommendations is what gets pushed towards their community. I think essentially what has really changed and is, so to begin with, we're completely digital, and we don't do any other form. But what has really changed is how you actually work with the creators, and what is it that you do with them.
So tell me something, how do you identify your creator, and what are the data points or leverage that you, and how do you differentiate that this is the nano micro, considering there are millions and numbers, and how do you pick yours, and what's the process like?
So 3 ways in which we do it. Number one is, we already have a strong inbound lead pipeline that comes into us because we're about 3 years old. But the first few were obviously calls. Literally, the first few creators that we started with were calls that me or my co-founders would have made. But over time, it just
Directly
became.
to the influencers.
Pardon me? Yeah. Literally, when we just started out, it was just us making calls or dropping emails and reaching out. But I think it became a sort of a program that we were able to build out. I think the most important thing for us is that we work with a lot of micro, nano, plus creators. And the term that I think that everyone should be looking at is circle of influence, and how you can define that circle of influence. With these creators, the biggest difference is that they're very, very particular about authenticity and what really drives conversations in their communities. So they might be, and we're a multi-product, multi-brand platform. So if I tell them these are 5 products that are on sale, or these are 5 products that are new launches, chances of them saying that, hey, 3 of them didn't work for me are very high. I don't use them or work with them to just say, hey, tell me great things about the brand. That's not why I'm there. For them also, authenticity is really important.
But do you think nano and micro influencers, considering they rarely get brands to promote? In the larger scheme of things, only like 5% of nano and micro get to work. They still get to choose the brand and be that authentic.
I think for us, it is what works for their community. 2 things over there. It's not like we don't work with the larger creators, but you should know what each creator is driving for you. I think the larger creators, are they really driving a lot of eyeballs, a lot of reach? Are they reaching to a newer audience? That's the most important thing. That's number one. And number 2, when I say circle of influence, it's beyond just what we see on Instagram and Facebook or WhatsApp groups, Telegram, huge, Reddit. There are micro communities that exist outside of the 2 to 3 channels that we see day in and day out. I think as marketers, it also becomes a slight bit of an echo chamber that when you open Instagram, you see the 5 creators and you assume that the only brands they're talking about are the only brands that matter, but that's not the case. So I think it goes beyond that. And we've seamlessly integrated technology also for them to be able to share, to be able to do a one-click share, have their recommendations completely AI driven to make it easy for them to have their stores, etc. That's made a lot of difference.
That's very cool. Ma'am,
So for us, definitely when we started, we were using influencers and as you said, nano influencers, yes, we did. But over a period of time, my personal realization is unless, because these influencers, for us, we have seen that only, as you said, 5%, so only few people actually use your product and they can give the feedback, right? So what we started taking feedback from the customers right there. And once you are taking the feedback from them and you are posting it and or your customers are posting or the client is posting it, tagging you, so that's making real difference. And for us, that is working. So why not to make the customers
your
themselves
customers your
influence?
influencers.
Yes,
That's very
exactly.
good.
I also just wanted to add that just one point from the previous point that I made, that when you were talking about nano, micro, how much of a percentage, I think for us, we also identify them as key opinion leaders. So there might be a dermatologist with 5,000 followers on Instagram, but she's a key opinion leader. And that's the way that brands should also look at it.
Correct. Fair enough. That's very, very valid. Your perspective on, see, we all know influencers work in a particular domain, right? But personally, I believe that the chain is broken somewhere, not leading to authenticity and people actually shifting to word of mouth with the larger influence, right? I just want your opinion, because all of you have used influencer marketing at some point in time. What were the challenges you faced? Where is the restriction being held? And where do you think your brands in particular can experience it differently? And where do you think, if not influencer marketing, what are the next channels of marketing that are going to go to?
I appreciate the question. I think for us, so at the outset, first, we've grown primarily word of mouth. I think that was one of the key insights that we said that we want to replicate when we start marketing. I think the first 5 years of the business, we were growing at about 80-90% year on year without spending a rupee on marketing. And we realized
You should give us your business strategy.
it just worked. I think making a great product and just putting it out there, I think what you're doing fundamentally works.
Still
And
share your business strategy.
I will. But I think post that, once you kind of reach a certain scale, you have to start kind of pushing the entire marketing piece a lot more. And that's when we started looking at influencers, taking from what we learned, that us talking about ourselves is not as valuable as somebody else talking about us. So it's been the cornerstone of how we have grown. In the initial phase, we actually tried out many different strategies. So we are a cookware brand. What we saw, we tried out lifestyle influencers, we tried out people who would talk about health and other aspects. Then we tried out influencers who fundamentally
But
were
when you
chefs.
say try out, how do you define, how do you select the
So,
category of influencer? On what point?
For us, we went across the spectrum. We went from a micro nano all the way up to people who have a million and a
Let's
half
take a step
influencers.
back.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the numbers in particular, but how did you choose that this particular influencer at the forefront will match the brand ethos that you're building?
So I think that comes from seeing their content. And I think, even today, for example, selecting an influencer is something that I do personally. I will go through, I think, the last 20 or 30 odd reels or stories that they say. The ethos has to match what we're talking about. It has to, because finally, they are influencing because they are a particular kind of person. And we are trying to drive a particular message. And if there is a mismatch between the brand and the influencer, they'll do a one-off and it will kind of work, it will not work. And we learned this the hard
So
way.
you get into a larger level partnerships with people, influencers who
The
work
minimum partnership that we do is at least a year. So one of the things that we've seen is minimum of 2 reels a month, at least for a year.
So does it matter that so influencer might be of a particular domain, right? What are the influencers' followers domains are?
So what we've seen and is that, like I said, we tried different domains. What we found was cooking. So we still see that 90% of our consumers are women. Like it or not, that is the person who's cooking in the kitchen today. And a lot of them are actually looking for recommendations from their mothers or from people that they know. So we've seen that, for example, recipes are something that they're coming back again and again for. And when we're looking for someone in the long run, we find that a person who is, influencing on recipes, but then also talking about the cookware as being a solid tool in part of what they do at the foreground. So in fact, we do it very subtly. We make sure that out of, I think, every 5 or 6 content pieces that one of our influencer posts, they'll maybe talk about us once. They may say our name once, but that's part of the longer brief. And what we've seen is if we work with somebody good and we have a good ethos, they actually end up influencing a lot of other influencers. And I'm sure you all have also seen this. We've seen, for example, we work actively with about 5 or 6 influencers. My last count that I saw is we've seen more than about 80 or 90 influencers organically using our stuff.
I'll ask this question to him. We've spoken about how influencers matter, but I want to understand the matrix that you evaluate an influencer on. Because views, followers, everything is bought these days. Followers are fake, views, matrix are defined. How do you personally validate the matrix that you have defined for yourself, that this worked for me and this didn't, beyond the industry matrix? Or do you follow the industry matrix and go on that tangent?
Sure. No, I think so. Early on, it was all the regular matrix. You would see the likes, and I'm talking about 2018, 17, early on for us. Like, I'm not talking about history of time, but early on for us, it was more on the regular, how would you see, because back then, there was a lot of, the community was much smaller, especially of those influencers who you could today call macro or the second tier. But now what's happened is, because like you said, there's been a lot of up and down in terms of what's honest, who's not, in terms of followers, likes. So what we like to do today a lot is, because we are a clean beauty aggregator, so what we like to do at Vanity is firstly ensure the influencer fits in with our problem statement, because the problem statement could
I'm
be...
going to ask you one step behind.
Yeah, go
How
for
do
it.
you define fitting in?
So fit, I'll come to that. So fitting in the sense of, if I have a problem statement, let's say of acne, let's take an example there. Now, firstly, I need to look for an influencer who's got a problem, if not the exact same problem or a similar one, if I'm talking about content on that piece. Now, coming back to you, what you said, how do I choose that or this influencer? That's mostly defined around the kind of content they're doing. So we, at Vanity specifically, on most times, like to stay away from content that's very TV friendly in some sense, if I can call it, in the sense of, oh, well shot in a great location, etc. It's more natural content. So the influencer needs to have the ability to do content pieces, write content that seems to be more natural. Connectivity to the consumer is more there. And the second piece for us, beyond the metrics, so we still look at metrics, I can't completely ignore them, but post, how would I repeat an influencer? It's a lot around the ROI. The ROI necessarily may not be sale, but in offline retail it's sales, but in online retail also it's about what kind of response you got around that period in terms of the user base on the platform. Is this product being sold more than the others in this category, etc. Because we've got a large array of categories. We're not a brand, we're an aggregator. So I think a lot of that filtration is what works for us when choosing an influencer.
So for different brands, because you're an aggregator,
Sure.
you have to choose different ethos of ethos. Isn't it a very cumbersome process to go through each thing manually? And do you think, would you find any other way if you have to aggregate? Would you use influencer marketing or any other channel to promote?
Sure. So on the first bit, the example I gave is very specific, but it's meant only for a certain campaign. That's not how everyday operates for us. So everyday operation would still be around, let's say, promoting Vanity Wagon,
Acha.
which is because these brands could be available not today on a quick commerce, could also be available, let's say, on a Nykaa or a Myntra. So today it's a lot about why should you shop from Vanity, or why should you associate yourself to a retailer that talks about clean beauty principally, which of course even kindlife does at some level. So that's the principle for us in terms of the first piece. And I think overall influencer marketing for us has been a lot of that journey, and progressing that towards then what our goals are at that period of time. Is it bringing more consumers? In offline retail, for instance, we do a lot of event-based influencer marketing, which is around just awareness. So it's nothing to do with sales or ROI in that sense, but it's more about awareness that, hey, listen, these brands are available in these stores.
Because you've been into this for about 2 decades now, and you rely, I'm going to talk about affiliate, the next version of influencer, and how those are going to drive. Because considering the other markets versus India, affiliate hasn't really picked up in that space, and influencers really don't want to be associated with affiliate unless there is a direct payment method involved. What do you think can break that, and what is the assurity of that going forward? Is affiliate going to be the future of influencer marketing, and brands are going to rely on that? And what has been your experience in that domain?
Look, there are different kind of influencers. Yes, affiliates is something that is going to work for a long time, as far as I can see. But yes, there are other ways also. You know, those micro influencers, they have great engagement. those do not affiliate. Sometimes even they buy from us. They don't say that it's a barter or it's an affiliate. They buy from us and then they show us their conversions and then they show us their matrices and then we see those posts. And then we realize that yes, they have a good engagement and they have a customer who is interacting with them, who's asking about the product rather than those with which we have affiliated, we have paid. We might not get that percentage that we get from a micro influencer. So it's a mix of both. But yes, because everybody wants to see that it's a famous celeb and a famous influencer, so we do have to pay and affiliate with them. But we cannot ignore the micro and the small influencers. They are gaining up really fast.
But to this point only, my thing is because affiliate right now, and to your point, you do the reverse of it, right? And what if we reverse the process for every brand? They do an awareness campaign plus the plus the affiliate campaign, which is rarely happening right now. Brands are only directly going for affiliate rather than the awareness, which I think is the missing link in the entire piece. Is it?
Yes, definitely. It should be both the ways.
Because the influencer gets paid upfront and then they can do an affiliate thing based on the conversion
Yeah,
per se.
based on the conversion. Yes, that
That's
has
a very
happened
interesting
with the,
strategy.
micro ones. It has happened with us. Many of them have bought, and we are really shocked to see the results of those. So now we are into that micro influencer thing also.
Very interesting. Sir, your thoughts on, we were speaking outside and you had very interesting thoughts on your community building and how your entire one founder is completely led on this influencer marketing thing. I think that'll be a great case study if you can talk about it a little.
So I think I will like to share in last 5 to 8 years how have been we working and what has made us grow almost 25x in last 8 odd years. So I think what is an influencer basically? Whoever can influence your business or whoever can grow your business, I considering him to be an influencer. So I think in last 5 to 8 years, what strategy we have adopted is called a SOS influencer. So SOS stands for a son of soil.
Very cool name.
So these are all names we have only innovated. So I think
open
because
an agency
we are into a B2C business direct to customer and we operating in 160, 180 odd cities. So every city has a different culture, every city has a different language and every city has a very, very different approach. So we thought we have to take a common thing which is SOS, so son of soil, who knows how to market there, how to present itself. And I will just like to share how it has helped. So we innovated this SOS. We started onboarding people on this SOS module. So today we have a community of around 270 odd people who have joined us on this SOS. And it is SOS influencers. We call them as a business partners for us for that stores. Now what has helped them? What has helped us? These people have helped us getting in stores at the best locations at a very quick time. When a brand approaches a store, the rentals are very high, but when a SOS approaches, he is able to crack it at a 40-50% discount. Appointing of team, we don't know whom to appoint and how to appoint, but a SOS can really scale up locally very, very fast. One strategy we start using 4-5 years back is whatever marketing we are doing for that city, that marketing has that local partner's face there. So we gradually understood that this is helping us because this is building a trust. This is creating a ownership face across every city. So a lot of such things, and then I think basically what we did is we started training them last 3-4 years back. So we don't take any franchisee fees and all those type from our partners, but we take a training fee from them. And this training fee is related to all these things, business and basically marketing, learning marketing. And they get 100% of their training free cashback if they qualify and earn the scores. So one of the biggest training was this influencing, so creating videos, what to talk, how to talk. And we started using them only as local influencers. It is a very tedious job. we require rigorous training for that. We say we are 50% successful, maybe still 50%
So what
not
if
successful.
you already could identify a hyper-local person who was readily available as an influencer that could have cut your time,
So there are challenges.
like?
Currently, it's very, very unorganized. Nobody is coming and ready to sign contracts for 3 years, 5 years.
Correct.
Today is doing an influencer reel for us. After 3 days, he's doing the same reel for the competition.
Because the pool is so small, na, not everybody
So
is reaching
there is
out.
no uniformity. Nobody is there is nothing. So there are a lot of challenges. So what we want to do is, because we are teaching somebody, we are teaching the content, and he's learning from us. And maybe after a month, he's doing the same with our competitors. So to cut this, we basically have adopted this strategy wherein our partner is only doing it, we are promoting him, we are training him, and gradually it is getting converted into business, and he is basically earning for this.
Fair enough. Coming to challenges, and a very important point, if we have to actually grow on the influencer marketing, I'll just give each one of you 1 minute to just talk about the challenges and your possible solutions that could lead the industry forward, right? Whether it's a tech solution, whether it's just as a community, whether it's a community-driven approach, I'm not going to give you answers. So we'll start with you. That what are the major? We'll just talk about one single challenge, each one of you, and probably if you have an answer for that. If not, just the challenge.
So the challenge in our industry is people consider health and wellness into beauty sometime, right? And the influencers who are doing health and wellness, they also do the beauty part. So there you need to be very, very specific that we need to have these particular people only who are doing it. And the challenges then comes is when they get your brand as as a brand to promote, and then another brand, they don't stick to that particular thing. That is also we have seen in, and specifically not in micro it happens a lot, in nano it happens a lot, because they deviate, they are not clear about what they have to do. So that is what the adoption we have done is completely gone to the customer centric.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think the biggest challenge is that there's no parity of pricing. It's somebody with 5,000 followers and somebody with 50,000 followers might be charging the same, and there's no level playing field. And it's and some industries or sectors are probably more and some lesser. So if you are a big conglomerate bringing something larger on the table, you definitely have more skin in the game.
But do you
But
think
as a-
that the niches are missing? There are only 5, 10
No,
defined
I don't
niches,
think.
right?
I don't think so. In fact, I think so from Kind Life's experience, because we're built again, going back for the Gen Z audience, we do a lot of mixing and matching also, because we realize that Gen Z doesn't take themselves as seriously. I mean, they also consume a lot of content in a humorous way, in a fun way. So we work across while our pillars continue to be the same of the kind of content we want to make. But even then, I feel that there's no parity. So if you're working with a creator from the South, for example, with X number of followers, I don't think that that'll be the same as somebody from another place. So I feel as an advertiser, it can be very difficult because you can see all the metrics that you want, engagement rate, reach, all of that. But if I just want to look at, I put in $100, what did I get against it? That $100 have very different value across. And it's very, very difficult. So that's the only thing I feel. Then you kind of, and the thing is also that you were mentioning that you do long-term deals, but for brands, without knowing that first testing of water of how it did for you, very difficult to say whether you want to and can do long-term deals. So then that's something that I really wish there was a solution. We would have worked on it.
I'm going to end my conversation by introducing my platform. Same question, challenge.
So same question, challenging. So I think we already discussed on
Yeah.
challenging.
Give me a
Rightly,
solution
as
then.
ma'am said, we really don't know what is his content going to be. So you really can't sign him from 1 year. There is no, basically, you cannot trust anybody. So every 2-3 months he keep on moving. Second, community challenge is also there. Some product wise also you require specific influencers, because as in our case we are a mass product, so it's okay. But still we cannot make this through somebody who is a 50, 55 plus. So again, youngsters are required. There are biggest challenges. There are no influencers very specifically industry wise. So they want to do everything. So today they will have a food blog. Tomorrow they will make a electronics shop reel. What is happening is the influencer which was having a viewership of maybe 1 million views 1 year back, today has come down to 20,000. The reason is because of they are not sticking to their original content and they are keeping on changing, their viewership is dropping. So basically it has to be a combination of their original content and how they can sync the story with them. I think very few people are able to do it, and I think there is a lack of training and lack of understanding for the influencers also. So there is nothing where they have a course or they have a institution where influencing as a career has been taught.
The main pain point that we have is like when we collaborate with an influencer, we create the content, we share it, we put it everywhere. What happens is that within the next month or 2 months, a similar kind of content, either the same influencer or another influencer, but the content is almost the same. So it happens there. So that is the main pain point that we cannot stop it. It's an open thing. So whatever we create is replicated very soon.
Whatever has
affects
worked
us.
for you is replicated by
Yes,
our
that
competition.
whatever worked for us, either the same influencer or a similar influencer, our competitor brand is going to
Got
do
it,
it.
sir.
So I'll just quickly say the challenge is, I think, mapping the results, which you spoke about earlier. If there can be a tool, a technology that gives parameters that, okay, this is, you put in your input and it gives you an output that this influence is good for you in long term or not for you, I think that will be great.
Mansa, thanks for taking my answer away. And measurement is definitely a big challenge, but I think for us, what we've seen is the biggest challenge is how much do you get the brand to kind of drive the influencer script versus let the influencer do what they naturally and plug yourself in. And the instinct is always to kind of want to say or toot your own horn. The question, to me, the biggest conundrum is how much do you kind of do an overt advertising and kind of kill the authenticity of the influencer and the content versus let them do their content and have the fear that you kind of are not mentioned enough or you don't come up enough in that fast-paced movement that the influencers have. For us, we've been able to kind of solve that by making sure that we find influencers in a niche, and I think that's by virtue of us being in a very small segment of cooking and being able to have identified a particular niche. So like we'll not go to lifestyle because you get lost in that. We'll stay in the cookware or the cooking space because we can continue to be there again and again. Just say Shah Saab has said. But principally it's content, overt versus covert, and what is authentic and not.
So
Thank you.
that was very really good. And yeah, the fundamental is that I am a huge advocate for influencer marketing, and I think there is a desperate need to widen the base of influencer marketing because it's restricted to very few, and that's why the repetition and right audience being not mapped to the right audience, the parity where the ROI matrix not being measured, the right influencer not matching the right brand ethos, the influencer doing the same things. These are problems that need to be solved, and yes, we are one of the platforms that's solving for all of you. But it was a great discussion, and